It used to be also called Café Scientifique at first, and that was when it was started in Paris. My name is Richard Gunasekar. I'm your moderator for the evening, and I want to do three things before we get started. I want to first give you all a little introduction about what Café Scientifique is about. First. Secondly, we want to try to kind of get to know who are the main constituents, who are you in our midst this evening. Okay, so just like in groups, what university, college, community group that you may be representing, so that kind of thing we'll kind of get to know. So we want to kind of get to know each other, and that way you all get to know each other too. And thirdly, I'll have the honor of introducing our panelists today. And we have three actually. Dr. Cornelius Davis, who is a cardiac thoracic surgeon, just got out of the surgery theater. So I think he'll be here in time about when we want to get started with our panel. So I'll begin. First of all, here in the outset itself to tell you that this is kind of an informal gathering. If you read, I think we have in our program a little insert called What is Café Scientifique? In itself it says, at the end of the first paragraph, meetings have taken places in cafes, bars, restaurants, and even theaters, but always outside a traditional academic context. Okay? All the cafes have been, well, most of them have been affiliated to a university usually, but they meet outside. But today we are being hosted by the University of Houston system in Sugar Land. That's our host. So we are indeed meeting in an academic context, but we're going to try to throw away some of those ties and be a little laid back and casual. So I'll also tell you that the program, although I put some times on that, we may not follow it to the T, but we do have to get out at 9 o'clock, just so that you know. So if you feel, if you want to get a bottle of water, you want to get some juice or cookies, anytime, please feel free to get up and walk and get some refreshments and come back and sit down. So we're not going to be very formal like in an academic context. So what is Café Scientifique? Internationally, it was originally known as Café Philosophique, and it began in Paris in the late 1990s, and then it picked up momentum in the UK, where it was called Café Scientifique. And it actually started, the first cafe started in Leeds in the UK, and the handout that we have talks about the Leeds Cafe. It's actually from their website. Then later on, it went all around in Europe, especially starting from the British Isles, went through Europe and came to the USA, and in other parts of the world. In the USA, the first Café Scientifique met in Boston, and then in Denver, affiliated to the University of Colorado. And the third one, we have the privilege to say started in Texas. So the third cafe was in Texas, and actually in Victoria, Texas. And we are affiliated to the University of Houston, Victoria, some of us. And we brought it up to Sugar Land. And this is the second time we're meeting. We had a meeting in 2007. It was towards the latter part of October. It was called Forensic Science Dead or Alive, Clues from the Beyond. And it was held just after, right before Halloween. The surgeon has joined us, so we're all ready now. Dr. Cornelius Davis, welcome. So, today's topic is artificial life created, no cloning around. So we hope to have some fun with this talk and perhaps some debate, some discussion. That means everybody needs to participate. And as your moderator, I plan to provide you with these three items: cafes, your handout. You already have the handout, how it works. And in 2004, I had the privilege to join the organizers of these cafes in the UK and learn a little more about how this needs to be done. Secondly, our gracious host, as I mentioned to you, is the University of Houston system in Sugar Land. And it's your campus. Most of you are from the Houston area, Sugar Land area, Missouri City. So it is your campus. And we'd like to get the feedback on what you expect from what you're paying as a taxpayer for this campus, which is from the University of Houston system, I believe the third largest state university system in the state of Texas. Now, what is the Victoria connection? Partly the fact that the University of Houston Victoria, University of Houston Philip, downtown main campus, all 4 campuses offer courses here. Now, our most important and gracious panelists here among us. We have Dr. Cornelius Davis is here with us to your right, and then, sorry, your left, my right, and Dr. Tineka Burns and Mr. David Desiree. And I'll tell you a little bit about them. You have it in your handout too. Mr. Desiree has a BA in biology from Macalester College in St. Paul, Minnesota. He has his doctors of jurisprudence from Hamline University, also from St. Paul, Minnesota. Been practicing law as a litigator, defense attorney for a period of time. Has an MBA in finance from Purdue University in Indiana. And he has been in the investment management field for several years. And obviously he has great interest in science, philosophy, ethics, religion, and public policy. And he's our litigator among us, and he will address those kinds of issues. I promise I won't talk on the topic. I'll just introduce it and let the panelists address the topic. Next, we have Dr. Tineka Burns. She has her PhD in biochemistry from Texas A&M University, and she did studies in gene expression. She's the only geneticist among the panelists, excluding myself, and I promise I wouldn't talk on the subject unless I have to, right? Did a postdoctoral fellowship at MD Anderson Cancer Center right here in Houston, and currently she's at Houston Community College Northwest as a full-time biology faculty member. She has done research in genetics, and we have collaborated together actually. She brings the amplified genes from her students, and we do DNA sequencing here in our DNA sequencer, automated sequencer that is in our laboratories here. We do have labs on the third floor if you all ever want to visit some of the biology labs we've got going there. Dr. Burns also is a principal investigator on USDA grants, so she does work with obviously genes from plants and corn and stuff, maybe even some modified genetic organisms, things that you can ask questions about. Dr. Davis has his MD also and a PhD in cardiovascular, he's a cardiovascular and thoracic surgeon. He's the founder of Wellspring Cardiovascular here in Houston. His bachelor's is from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill in chemistry and political science. Medical degrees from Duke University School of Medicine, where he also did research in cardiac mechanics. I believe his doctoral studies, that is his PhD studies, was in biomedical engineering at Northwestern University, which was focused on fluid mechanics and its effect upon endothelial cell mechanotransduction. And he resides in Houston with his wife and 4 children. All right, so questions for me before we take a little break. Okay, this is the opportunity if you came in a little bit later, or even if you came earlier, to grab a drink or a cookie and come back and to mingle, get to know the people at your table and beyond, and then we'll come back and ask our panelists to introduce themselves, each individual, and then we won't take a break after that, but we'll go ahead after that to start.